So today's class we will continue with magnetic field. Some problems we will do it, and then followed by we will do Ampere's law. So let us start. So first what we are going to discuss is, okay, there is a loop like this whose resistance per unit length, okay, your resistance per unit length is equal to lambda, or he'll just simply give you some uniform wire like this. What is the question is, you are supposed to calculate, okay, magnetic field at O, okay, this is your question, okay. Now to solve this question, okay, we'll use an idea from current density. If you have a resistance R1 like this and one more resistor R2 like this, now if this current is I, okay, now here if this current is I1 and if this current is I2, your I1 is I times opposite side resistance R2 by R1 plus R2. This side the resistance is I times R1 by R1 plus R2, okay. So these are the resistances that you have, okay. Now once these resistance are known, okay, we can substitute the values and then simplify, okay. Now here if you are asked to calculate magnetic field at O, now within this part if this current is I1, within this part if the current is I2, okay. Here this I current is entering and it is splitting into two parts like this, one is I1 and other is I2. Now first to calculate I1 and I2 value, okay, now if resistance per unit length is lambda, okay, your top part's resistance and bottom part's resistance is supposed to be calculated anyhow. So if I assume this to be R1, okay, I am representing this resistance by, okay, capital R1, okay, and resistance of this part will be resistance per unit length lambda times, okay, if this radius is A, okay, if this radius is A, if this angle is theta, then this angle is going to become 2 pi minus theta. So in this case your resistance R1 is lambda times, okay, your resistance R1 is lambda times, okay, your length of arc is L into, I mean radius into theta, right? In maths you must have studied L is equal to R times theta in radians, okay. So according to that logic, your R1 is lambda times resistance per unit length times, okay, A into 2 pi minus theta is your first resistance, and your second resistance that you have here is R2 is equal to resistance per unit length lambda into radius A into theta is your total length, okay. So when resistance per unit length is known, resistance per unit length into length is your resistance value, okay. So now you have got R1, you have got R2, okay. Now if you try to calculate magnetic field, okay, your B at O is B1 bar because of top wire plus B2 bar because of bottom wire. Because of top wire how much it is means, okay, because of the top wire, this wire, okay, it is into the plane, okay, I1 is going clockwise direction, so it is into the plane magnetic field, and this is going in anti-clockwise direction, so at this point it will be out of the plane. So in this case your B1 is, okay, your B1, first I will write it here, your B1 bar is, okay, it is mu naught times, okay, first, okay, you have to consider I1, So I1 is I R2 by R1 plus R2, okay, times its your current value is known, okay. So for clarity sake, to save some space, I will put it in a better manner, okay. First we will calculate I1 and I2. So here your I1 is I times R2 lambda a theta by R1 plus R2 is lambda a theta plus lambda a 2 pi minus theta. So that will give you lambda a theta by R1 plus R2 is lambda a times 2 pi minus theta plus theta will give you 2 pi. Lambda a will cancel off, you will get I theta by 2 pi. And your I2 value is I times R1 is lambda a times 2 pi minus theta whole divided by R1 plus R2, that is lambda a times, okay, 2 pi minus theta plus theta is what you are going to get, okay. So minus theta plus theta will cancel off, lambda a will go off, so you are going to get I times 2 pi minus theta by 2 pi is your I2 value. Now once you get these I1 and I2 values, your B1 is mu naught times I1, okay, times, okay, mu naught times I1 by, okay, its angle is 2 pi minus theta, okay. So your relation is, for an arc its relation is mu naught I by 4 pi times radius a into angle theta in radians. This is your formula for current in arc. So its direction is into the plane, and your B2 value is, okay, mu naught I2 times, okay, mu naught I2 times theta by 4 pi a, its direction is out of the plane. Now if you add these two, your resultant magnetic field is B1 bar plus B2 bar. So your net is going to become 0, because after you substitute I1 into this equation and after you substitute I2 into this equation, your fields are equal and opposite in direction. So that is why you are going to get your magnetic field equal to 0. Now once these relations are known, okay, from this, okay, we can directly conclude that whenever a current is entering like this and leaving like this, automatically your magnetic field at this point is supposed to be 0 at the center, okay. This is a standard question, and directly or indirectly around 2 to 3 times this has been asked so far in the previous IIT JEE exam, and as well as AEEE it was asked, and even in the recent mains it was asked. So this is an important question, okay. It doesn't matter, it does not depend on the angle, as long as current is entering and dividing like this, you can do it and simplify and then give final answer as 0, okay. Next question is, I hope I can erase it. Right, next, coming to the next question, there are two wires like this. First wire is carrying current into the plane, second wire is carrying current out of the plane, okay, and from here to here, okay, there is a point P here. This distance is given as 3D, this distance is given as 4D. What is the question is, find magnetic field at point P. This is your question, okay. Now how you are going to solve this question is, okay, I want you to try it for a minute and then continue the video. Okay, now here let us say, okay, if this distance is 3D and 4D and this distance is also given, let us say it is given as 5D in the question itself. Okay, now looking at these, okay, we can obviously say that, okay, these are sides of a right angle triangle. This angle is 90 degrees because 3 square plus 4 square is 5 square. So this angle is going to be 90 degrees. Now if you take this angle, if this total angle is 90 degrees, now within this triangle here, okay, sin theta if you apply, it is opposite by hypotenuse, 4D by 5D, so that is 4 by 5. So if sin theta is 4 by 5, obviously this is going to become 53 degrees. And if you are applying sin theta is equal to opposite by adjacent, this is going to become 3 by 5. So this is going to become 37 degrees. Okay. Next, now if you join these two, okay, this is 90 degrees, this is 90 degrees. Top side angle is going to become 37, bottom side angle is going to become 53 degrees. Okay. So now here at this point P, okay, so you have your wire which is carrying current 3I like this. Okay, next this is 3D. Next this is 4D. Okay, this is 4I current. Okay, now observe very carefully. Your field because of this wire 1 is B1 and it will be like this. Okay, if I choose my axis here, okay, if I choose my XY axis like this, okay, let us say this is X axis, let us say this is your Y axis. So your magnetic field because of this wire, okay, this is a long wire. So because of long wire, what is the magnetic field means? It is mu naught times your current is 3I by 2 pi into distance is how much means it is 3D, making an angle of 53 degrees. Okay. So because as I have told you, if you have a wire like this, around this wire your magnetic field will be, okay, at this point it is tangential to the field line. Okay, so here it will be tangential and it will form 90 degrees. So if it is forming 90 degrees, obviously we have 37 degrees here. So your magnetic field because of top wire will be like this, forming angle of 53 degrees. Next, because of this wire, okay, it is out of the plane. So if you have field out of the plane, magnetic field lines will be in circles like this. So at this point somewhere here, if you draw a tangent, it will form 90 degrees and it will be like this. So your magnetic field because of second wire is, it will be in this direction, that is your B2 is equal to, it is mu naught times, okay, it is mu naught times, how much is the current means, it is 4I whole divided by 2 pi into how much is the distance from here to here means it is 4D. Okay, so now here you have got B1 bar, B2 bar. Okay, so express B1 bar and B2 bar in terms of I cap and J cap. Okay, so if you are unable to write the vector in terms of I cap and J cap, please do refer to my writing a vector in terms of I cap and J cap video clip, then you will be able to write it. So here in this case, your B1 bar is, okay, you can do it in many ways. Okay, 3 will go off, here 4 will go off. So you are getting anyhow mu naught I by 2 pi d here, and you will also get mu naught I by 2 pi d. Okay, so now two ways how you can do is, you can write this as vector I cap plus vector J cap looking at the angles. Okay, your B1 bar is in third quadrant, so you will have negative x component and, okay, you will have a negative x component and negative y component. Your B2 bar also will be, okay, negative I cap plus positive j cap, and you can add these two, b1 bar plus b2 bar like this, and give the answer. Okay, in terms of I cap and j cap, depending upon whatever is the answer, it belongs to that quadrant, or else these two angles are perpendicular to each other. Now if you apply parallelogram law directly, your resultant magnitude is under root b1 square plus b2 square, because angle between them is 90 degrees. This total angle is 90 degrees. Okay, so now here this is going to become root 2 times, because those two are of equal magnitude, mu naught I by 2 pi d is your magnitude of resultant magnetic field. Okay, so this is how you can do this problem. Okay, hope you have understood it. Any doubts, just let me know. Okay, now we'll continue further. Next is, okay, we'll see magnetic field because of some continuous configurations, okay, by integrating. Okay, now next question is, there is a thin walled sheet like this. Okay, some kind of sheet which is carrying some small amount, I mean there is a small slit of gap h. Okay, now what is happening is current is flowing along the radial direction like this. Okay, current is flowing only along outer length of this thin wall tube. Everywhere it is going into the plane like this. Okay, it is going like this. Okay, now the radius of this part is r. Okay, let us say it is given in the question, radius is r. The question is, your slit width is h, it is very small. Find b at center. Okay, the question is, find b at center. Okay, that is the question, assuming h is very much less than r. Okay, now to do this problem, okay, we'll usually use the principle of superposition. Okay, now you have full circular tube. Okay, there is a pipe kind of thing, only on the outer layer, on the top region, okay, current is going everywhere. So that means your current is entering like this onto the tube like this everywhere. Okay, so if you assume this to be your circular tube, okay, so onto this circular tube, okay, so your current is going into the plane only along the outer surface. Okay, so here my point is, I current is going across a length of 2 pi r region, across a length of I h if it is possible. Okay, across a length of h, how much current goes means I dash, where your I dash is going to become I h by 2 pi r is the small current. If it is, I mean here if there is a wire, okay, in this small gap of h, this much current goes. Okay, so along the outer length of the tube, current is going like this. Okay, now out of this tube a small portion is being removed like this. Okay, now what I can do is, this combination is equivalent to, okay, I can assume that, okay, this combination that you have here is equal to, what is that I can do here is, okay, I'll take, okay, small currents like this. Okay, here you have a width of h. Okay, right? So what I'll do is, everywhere I'll send, okay, current into the plane, okay, plus only in that h part I'll send current out of the plane. Here it is out of plane, okay, and here it is everywhere into the plane, full circle, okay, into the plane, full circle. Okay, here, okay, across a radius of r, okay, full part current is going inside, in this small part current is coming out. So that what happens is, okay, this part with a small slit here, okay, a small gap is equivalent to two parts, okay, this incoming whatever current that is going inside and whatever current that is coming out, those two will anyhow cancel off, okay. So the current that is entering and the current that is coming out, both will cancel off. So now in this part, okay, your required magnetic field B required bar, okay, at the center is equal to, because it is a vector, we can apply principle of superposition. So if you are applying principle of superposition, this will become B bar because of full tube plus B bar because of small part. Okay, you have two things, okay, because of full tube plus because of small part, okay. Now because of full tube, if you consider, okay, now it will if you consider this part, this portion of wire, what it will do is it will send out current like this. So because of that small portion, if you take some small part here 1, because of this your magnetic field, small magnetic field dB will be like this. Now exactly identical part if you take it here, now because of this part also current will be into the plane, so because of this it will be like this. So because of opposite elements that you have here, your current will cancel off, okay, so magnetic field will cancel off, sorry, not the current, magnetic field. So like this for each and every element, okay, magnetic field will cancel off. So because of full tube, what is your answer means, okay, your magnetic field here because of the full tube, how much it is means, it is 0. So because of this part it is 0 plus because of this small part, okay, now your small part is a kind of wire, okay, that is carrying current out of the plane and its width is h and it will carry a current of how much means, it will carry a current of I dash. So because of this part, okay, your magnetic field is mu naught I dash by 2 pi into r and its direction is out of the plane. So now if you have a small wire which is carrying current out of the plane, now here from here to here if the distance is r, so now what is the direction means, okay, if you consider lines like this, then at this point your magnetic field will be downwards, okay. So according to that it is mu naught times I dash by 2 pi r, okay, depending upon wherever. If I assume exactly here, it will be like this. If I take it slightly higher, it will deviate like this, okay, little more it will come like this, okay. So in this case only magnitude is important, so that will become mu naught times, what is I dash means, I dash is your IH by, okay, I dash is IH by 2 pi r, okay, times, okay, this is your I dash whole divided by 1 more 2 pi r is there, okay. So for I dash IH by 2 pi r, okay. So if you have any confusion, I will erase this part, okay, I will keep mu naught out, okay. This part is your mu naught, okay, this part is your mu naught times IH by 2 pi r whole divided by 2 pi r. So that will give you mu naught IH by 4 pi square r square is your magnetic field because of this tube, full tube, which carries current along the outer and which is having a small slit of width h, okay. So this idea we'll keep using, okay, in cavities, in electric field, gravitational field ideas and all, we'll use the same logic, okay. So here once again I am telling you, a full tube with a slit is equivalent to a full tube plus current in opposite direction. If this tube current is going inside, in this small part if current is coming out, this inside going current and outside going current will cancel off. So as a result, whatever is the required magnetic field at the center is combination of magnetic field because of the full tube that you have here plus magnetic field because of the small portion. So because of full tube magnetic field is going to be 0, because of small portion how much it is means mu naught I by, because of infinitely long wire it is 2 pi times distance. So from this small part your magnetic field from here to that point at the center the distance is r and your current in this small part is I dash. How much is that means, that is this much. So I have substituted and I have got the answers, okay. So this is how you are supposed to calculate the magnetic field. Okay, next I want you to try one more question. Your next question is this. There is a n-sided polygon like this which keeps on changing its sides. Okay. The question is, if there is a n-sided regular polygon or inscribed in a circle or whatever you do, no issues. Okay. I will write. Okay. Your question is like this. If I flows along length of n-sided regular polygon, okay, if current I flows along length of n-sided polygon, then okay, which is inscribed in a circle, I forgot, okay, I should have written it. If I flows along length of n-sided regular polygon which is inscribed in a circle, or if it is not inscribed also still result is not going to change, which is inscribed in a circle. The question is, find magnetic field at center. Find B bar at center. That is your question. Okay. Try it. Okay. I hope you have tried it enough. Now, if it is a regular polygon, obviously sides are equal. So at the center, how much is the angle means? Obviously it is 360 degrees, which is 2 pi. Now out of that n-sided polygon, okay, if you take a particular side, this particular side will form an angle of 2 pi by n is going to be the angle here at the center, because sum of angles because of all the sides here, next side, everything together, it is going to be 360 degrees. So it is 360 degrees for the complete circle. Now only for this part, if you take because of a single side, it is how much means it is 2 pi by n. Now here, okay, if you consider, okay, because of this side there is magnetic field of some B1, your resultant is n times B1, because if current is coming out of the plane because of this part, because of this wire also it will be out, because of the next wire also it will be out of the plane. So now, okay, if it is inscribed in a circle of radius r like this, okay, I should have mentioned it in the question. Okay, let us say it is a circle of radius is equal to r. Now in this case, okay, if you want magnetic field because of this wire, now from here to here the distance is required. If total angle is 2 pi by n, this angle will be pi by n, this side the angle will be pi by n, and if this distance is d, okay, because it is a right angle triangle, this part, okay, your d will be, okay, so you can apply cos pi by n is, okay, in this triangle, it is perpendicular distance from this center to this wire by r. From here, how much is your d means? It is r times cos of pi by n. Okay, that is going to be your d. Now once you get the value of d, what is your magnetic field means? Okay, your magnetic field at the center is we have formula that is mu naught I by 4 pi into whatever is the perpendicular distance d times sin alpha plus sin beta, which is sin of pi by n plus sin of pi by n. This is because of single side. Okay, B1, okay, because of single side. Okay, now your resultant magnetic field B resultant is n times of B1 bar, okay, because of each direction is out of the plane, okay, because if it is going like this, it will be out of the plane at the center. So n times B1, so you have calculated B1, substitute this D into this expression and that will become, your answer is n times mu naught I by 4 pi into, how much is D means it is R cos of pi by n, times in the numerator sin pi by n plus sin pi by n is 2 sin pi by n. So here 2 1s 2 2s, sin by cos is tan. So your final answer is going to become mu naught ni tan pi by n. Okay, so mu naught ni tan of pi by n whole divided by, okay, mu naught ni tan of pi by n whole divided by 2 pi r. Okay, this is going to be your final answer. Okay, right, copy it. Next question is, there is a thin shaped tube like this. Okay, there is a thin walled shaped tube like this. Basically, this is also carrying current only along outer section. At point O, you are supposed to calculate the magnetic field. Let us say the radius is R and the current along this cross section outer layer alone is some I. Okay, I current is being carried along this, what you can tell is like a cut hollow cylinder or a cylindrical outer pipe like this. Your question is, find magnetic field at O. Find BO. That is your question. Okay, now I want you to try it. Now always stick to the basics. Okay, remember, first of all, your I current is going across a length of pi into r, because your full circle, if it is there, it is 2 pi r, but you have only a small portion, so I current will go across a length of pi r. Now if you take a small strip here, this is r, if you assume this angle to be d theta and if you assume this angle to be theta, your small current di will flow across a length of, this small length dl is how much means, it is r times d theta. I have explained very clearly how to take the strips and integrate. Your small current di is, okay, it is r times d theta. Okay, your small current di is r d theta. Now here, okay, what is that I can do is, if I cross multiply, I times r d theta is equal to pi r times di. So from here your di is r will cancel off, you will get I d theta by pi. So that means because of this small strip, okay, or in this small strip how much current flows means it is I times d theta by pi. Okay, now you are supposed to calculate magnetic field. Okay, if it is a single wire, you could have written directly infinitely long wire mu naught I by 2 pi r. in this case because the distance is r, but this is not the case. It is a continuous configuration, and everywhere because of each elemental part your magnetic field direction is different. So now for clarity sake, okay, I will rearrange the diagram. Now here, okay, I will draw it little down because, okay, it should fit into the screen space. So I will do it here, just have a look. So here what is the magnetic field means, okay, okay. Now a small part, if I take here this angle, if it is theta, this is d theta. Now current is going into the plane here. Now observe very carefully, okay, your small part, okay, it will carry current because of this, it will be in circles like this, okay, a circle of radius r because of this small elemental wire. So your small magnetic field dB will be like this. Its magnetic field is mu naught times, this is carrying a current of di, so it is mu naught times di by, because this is infinitely long wire, it is 2 pi times, how much is the distance from here to here, means it is r, okay. So your small magnetic field dB, you are getting it, okay, where di is I d theta by pi, okay, and if this angle is theta here, okay, with the vertical this angle is 90 minus theta, okay. So the diagram is overlapping, I will just erase it. Hope you have understood what I have told. I will use multiple colors. So here it is like this, everywhere it is like this. Okay, so small part I have taken, and this angle is going to be, because that angle is, small part is anyhow d theta, this part is 90 minus theta, this part is once again going to become, this is 90 minus theta, radius is perpendicular to tangent, this is going to be theta. So your small magnetic field will have obviously two components. Your dBx is dB sin theta and your dBy is dB cos theta. Okay, you will have two components because this is a vector. It is in which quadrant, means it is in fourth quadrant like this. So now each component will simplify. So your dB is mu naught times, how much is di, means it is I d theta by pi whole divided by 2 pi r. Okay, right. So if this is simplified, how much you are going to get is mu naught I d theta by 2 pi square into r. Okay, so this is your small magnetic field dB. Okay, now we have to integrate this in terms of theta. Now if you are integrating this small function, okay, in x direction, how much it is going to become means, okay, so it is dBx is equal to, I mean x component is integral of dBx, that is equal to integral of dBx is dB sin theta. So you are going to get mu naught I d theta by 2 pi square r times sin theta, where your limits are, if theta is 0, this part will be here, if theta is pi 180 degrees, this part will come to this end. So from theta equal to 0 to theta equal to pi, you are integrating it like this. So now integral of sin theta is how much, means it is minus cos theta. So as a result, this will become mu naught I d theta, constant terms you can take it out of integral. Actually I need space. Anyhow, I will manage within the space that is present. So it is going to become mu naught I by 2 pi square r times integral sin theta d theta from 0 to pi. Okay, now what is integral of sin theta means? It is minus cos theta. So according to that, it is mu naught I by 2 pi square r times minus cos theta. Your limits are from 0 to pi. So if you simplify, it is going to become mu naught I by 2 pi square r times. Okay, you have a minus sign here. So minus of cos pi minus cos of 0. So it is minus of minus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 2. So your answer is mu naught I by 2 pi square r times 2, that is equal to mu naught I by pi square r. Okay, so this is your x component. Now if you integrate y component, by is equal to integral of dby. Okay, this answer will become 0. Okay, you check it later. Okay, so this is your magnetic field because of a very thin shaped tube like that. Okay, so hope you have understood the calculation of magnetic field in this situation. Okay, now let us continue further. Okay, next we will enter into something important, that is your magnetic field on the axis of a solenoid, and then we will go to Ampere's law. Okay, now what is a solenoid? First I will discuss, and then we will talk of magnetic field on the axis of a solenoid. Now next thing is, okay, you need to know what is meant by a helix. Okay, so if a body goes in circle, okay, at the same part, it will form a path like this. Now if body goes up and simultaneously tries to follow circular path, this path is actually called as helical path. Okay, so normally you take spiral books, so that spiral is only your, okay, helical path, okay, which is nothing but your solenoid indirectly. Okay, it is also an inductor, which we will see later. But now here, okay, a solenoid is just diagrammatically it is represented like this. Okay, this is your solenoid. Okay, now your current I enters from somewhere here. Okay, and for this solenoid, okay, also inductor symbol is also same. Okay, this is your axis. Okay, I did not keep the heading. Okay, so my heading is magnetic field. Okay, B bar on axis of solenoid. Okay, this is my heading, magnetic field on axis of solenoid. Okay, now here what is that I am going to do is, okay, now observe carefully, your current is entering into the plane. If it enters on the top, it comes out. Okay, now instead of that arrow, let me keep the arrow in opposite direction. Okay, instead of current going that way, let us say the current is going like this. So it keeps entering, so it enters, comes out, enters, comes out like this. This is keeping on happening. Okay, now in this solenoid, first of all, okay, an important point that I want you to notice is, on the first loop it is coming out like this, next it goes into, then once again it comes out here into the plane, out, into, out, into, out, into, okay, like this. It keeps coming out, going in, coming out, going in. Okay, now here, okay, let us say your total number of turns from here to here are n and total length is L. Okay, let us say the total number of turns from here to here. Okay, so from here to here the length is L and total number of turns is n. Let us say radius of cross section of solenoid is r. Okay, so that means this part from the axis, this distance is r. Okay, now for this solenoid, okay, this is only your solenoid. Okay, now for this solenoid, first of all we will talk of direction. Okay, now out of this many turns, let me take a small single turn here for clarity sake. Okay, now if I take this solenoid here, okay, I am trying to calculate magnetic field, obviously, no doubt about that. But first, what is that I am going to do is I am trying to calculate field direction. Once you calculate the field direction, we will go back to the magnitude. So here in this case, okay, now here magnetic field in the top part, it is out of the plane. So if I draw magnetic field lines, okay, I will draw two blue lines like this. First line is this way, second line is this way. Okay, so because of this wire 1, okay, because of one magnetic field direction is like this, here also it is like this. Okay, next, if it is into the plane here, okay, your field line will be like this here, and because of this wire 2, outside also the field line will be like this. Okay, so blue lines are going in anti-clockwise direction, these orange colored lines are going in clockwise direction. Now observe this carefully. In the middle region, okay, here field lines are tending to add. Okay, field lines are tending to add here because they are in same direction. Okay, and here they are in opposite direction, so your field lines are tending to cancel. Okay, field lines are tending to cancel. Okay, here they are cancelling out, here they are adding up. Okay, so in the middle they are tending to add up, in the top and in the bottom they are tending to cancel out like this. Okay, now from this, okay, indirectly I can say that, okay, outside the solenoid, okay, there is no magnetic field. Okay, even if it is there, it is very small compared to the, okay, value that is present on the axis. Okay, here we will assume, okay, during our calculations, no field here, okay, and here also no field. Okay, even though it is there, it is very small. Okay, so no field on the top, no field on the bottom. In the middle, what happens is, okay, in the middle field is there, okay, field is present. Okay, and that value we will try to calculate. Okay, we are trying to calculate magnetic field in the middle. Okay, getting my point, right? Any doubts? Okay, feel free to ask. Now with this information, I will try to derive, okay, magnetic field on the axis, taking some point here, some point P I will take here, and I will try to calculate magnetic field on that axis. Okay, now how I will do it? Okay, you just observe. I think you have understood what is meant by a solenoid. Okay, so this solenoid is being represented like this, that's all. Okay, and remember, in the middle they are adding up, on the top and in the bottom they are cancelling out because they are in opposite directions. Okay, now I will draw a solenoid and then I will try to calculate field because of this solenoid. So now how is that I do it? Okay, how is that I calculate magnetic field on the axis of solenoid and all? You observe carefully. Now first we will start with, okay, a solenoid diagram. So let us say it is coming out like this. So obviously field lines will be going towards right. It is going into the plane, into the plane, into the plane, out of the plane on the top, out of the plane on the top, out of the plane, into the plane, out of the plane, into the plane, out of the plane, into the plane. Okay. Now okay, what is it we are going to do is, if I take a small patch here, okay, now this patch, okay, will have a width of, okay, dx, let us say from here to here, this distance, let us say it is x. Okay, so if you are not comfortable, what I will do is I will extend this and take the point somewhere little far away so that you will feel comfortable. Okay, I hope you have understood what I am trying to do. So here I am taking, okay, let us say I am taking a small part here. This is in the shape of ring, okay, you have zoomed it, let us say this distance is x. Okay, now this distance is x and this distance is r. You have a small patch here, this angle it is theta, this angle it is d theta. Okay, let me check whether it is visible clearly in the camera or not. Yeah, fine. So now here, okay, your radius is r. Okay, if you are not comfortable, still you can make it thin, no issues at all, I don't mind. A small patch or a small ring portion is what I am taking. Now here it is into the plane, here it is into the plane, here it is out of the plane, here it is out of the plane. Okay, now, okay, if you take this small patch or width dx, okay, now in this how many number of turns is there, that is also important. Okay, so in a length of L from here to here, if the length is L, okay, for clarity sake I will draw another diagram, I will not make any confusion here. Let us say your solenoid is like this, from here to here the length is L, total number of turns is N. Okay, this side, okay, I will join these two. This side angle, let us say it is alpha, this side angle, let us say it is beta. Okay, so one side angle is alpha, other side the angle is beta. Okay, now if I take a small part, okay, if I take a small part, okay, now in that small part how many turns are there means n turns are present in length L, small turns dn if I write. Okay, now your dn is going to become, okay, dn number of turns, small number of turns present in length dx is, okay, so I should not put equal. Okay, so in small part, okay, in a length of dx, small number of turns dn are there. Now if I cross multiply, L times dn is equal to n times dx. Your dn is equal to n by L into dx. Okay, that is number of turns per unit length. Your dn is equal to number of turns per unit length, which is n times dx. This I am representing it with small n. Okay. Now here you have dn turns. From here to here the distance is x. This is your radius r. Now this point P is on axis of a ring which is carrying current indirectly. Okay, this small portion is equivalent to a ring. Okay, this dx portion is equivalent to a ring which contains how many turns, means dn turns. Dn number of turns are there in this small portion of dx. Okay, now on axis of a ring, what is the magnetic field, means your magnetic field dB is, okay, your magnetic field dB is mu naught into number of turns dn into I into r square, mu naught ni r square times 2 times r square plus x square whole power 3 by 2. Okay, any doubts? In small portion of length dx, dn number of turns are there. Okay, and that dn how much it is, means it is n into dx. Of course we will substitute it later, but I hope you have understood it. Okay, now we need to integrate this in terms of theta, because your expression is, okay, in terms of alpha and beta. If theta is equal to alpha, it will be at left end. If theta is equal to beta, it minus beta. Okay, it should not be plus alpha, it should be minus beta, because if theta is 0 here, it comes to middle. If theta is plus alpha, it goes to left hand. If theta is minus beta, it goes to right hand, like that. Okay, now we will substitute in terms of these standard values. Let us say from here to here the distance is r. Okay, now here, okay, I need space, so I will put it like this somewhere to the side. R square plus x square is equal to small r square, Pythagoras theorem. So cos theta is, okay, adjacent side by hypotenuse, that is r by r. Okay, and sin theta is equal to, okay, sin theta is how much, means opposite side x by hypotenuse r. Now if you differentiate this expression, cos theta d theta is equal to dx by r. From here it is dx is equal to r cos theta d theta. Okay, keep this expression aside. Now I will substitute this expression into that part. So your small magnetic field dV, I will integrate. Your B is integral of mu naught into, your dn is how much, means n dx, number of turns per unit length into dx, times I into r square whole divided by r square plus x square is how much, means small r square. Okay, small r square whole power 3 by 2. This square will cancel off, you will get r cube, and dx is r cos theta d theta. So I will substitute it back. Okay, so what is that you are going to get is, am I doing it correctly? Sin theta is x by r, cos theta is capital R by small r. Okay, no issues. So I will simplify. Mu naught ni r square times, what is dx, r cos theta d theta. Wait, did I do anything wrong? Dx by r cube, dx is r cos theta sin theta. See, I have done wrong. Your cos theta is correct only, capital R by small r, but your sin theta is wrong. This is not sin theta. It is your tan theta. Tan theta is, this is a right angle triangle, opposite by hypotenuse. So I have to write x by r. Derivative of tan theta is secant square theta d theta, which is equal to dx by r. From here, your dx is r secant square theta d theta. Okay. Now I think we are going to get the answer correctly. Sorry. Okay. So mu naught ni r square, they are constants. In place of dx it is r secant square theta d theta whole divided by, in the denominator you have small r cube. Small r cube is r cube into secant cube theta. Okay. From here capital R, small r, if you send it to other side, and cos theta if you bring it to this side, it will become r cube secant cube theta. So r square into r cube, secant square theta secant cube theta will cancel off. So you are going to get mu naught ni times integral, okay, cos theta d theta from theta equal to, for left hand it is, according to this figure it is plus alpha, for right hand it is minus beta, from left hand to right hand. So that is going to become mu naught ni times, what is integral of cos theta means, that is sin theta from plus alpha to minus beta. So that will give you mu naught ni times minus sin beta minus sin alpha. Okay. So if you consider only the magnitude, that will become mu naught ni times sin alpha plus sin beta is your final answer for the magnitude part. Okay. That minus sign indicates that it is towards left, okay, in this expression. Okay. Hope you have got it. So this is your magnetic field on the axis of solenoid. Okay. So I think I should erase this space to leave the not to have any confusion. Okay. So this is your magnetic field on the axis of solenoid. Okay. And field lines, as I have discussed, they will be towards right. Okay. Top part will send right, bottom part also will send right in the middle. So overall your magnetic field on the top, if it is coming out, and in the bottom if it is going in, field is towards right like this. Okay. Right. Next. Now from this an important conclusion is to be made. Okay. So this board is not being sufficient. I don't know why. So so here conclusion of the story is, for a solenoid if this length is L, total number of turns is N, this side if the angle is alpha, this side if the angle is beta for the end. Okay. Now on the axis, okay, your magnetic field B bar is, okay, mu naught Ni times sin alpha plus, okay, by 2 is there, we have missed. Okay. 2 expression is there. Okay. Mu naught Ni by 2 times sin alpha plus sin beta. I don't know whether I have carried the 2 somewhere at some step. I think I have left out 2. Yeah, here it is 2, I remember. So 2 is missing. I have not written down, but I think I have taken it out. I don't know, but it is the final expression. Now for this, what is the important thing is your subcase 1 and 2. Subcase 1, infinitely long solenoid. Here remember, this angles alpha and beta are with respect to what means? With respect to the center. Okay, with the vertical, this left side angle is alpha and right side angle is beta. Infinitely long solenoid. Okay, your alpha is going to become 90 degrees, your beta is also 90 degrees. So if that is the case, your resultant magnetic field is B resultant is half mu naught Ni times sin 90 plus sin 90. Okay, so that is going to become half mu naught Ni into 2. So B bar is mu naught Ni for a infinitely long solenoid. Okay, very important. Okay, we are going to use this result often. Okay, it is important. Next, sub case 2 at end. Okay, so at the end means, okay, your solenoid is your point is on the end and this side it is going till infinity. So your angle beta is 90 degrees, this side angle alpha will be 0 degrees. Okay, so at the end alpha 0, beta equal to 90. So at the end what is your field means, your resultant is B resultant is equal to half of mu naught Ni times 0 plus 1, sin 0 is 0 plus 1, so you are going to get half mu naught Ni. Okay, this is at the end. Okay, at end here, and it is infinitely long solenoid. Okay, so this result is important for solenoid part. Okay, now next we will start with Ampere circuital law. Copy it down. Okay, so with this basic part of the chapter is done.